So I'm here with Bob Proctor in his studio, which is great. And one of the things that so many people know about you, Bob, is that you've been reading the book Think and Grow Rich for what, 50 plus years now?
55.
And why do you do that? Why is the repetition so important?
Well, what you're really attempting to change is your behavior. And the cause of your behavior is your paradigm. It's the subconscious conditioning. And you're conditioned through repetition. First of all, you're conditioned genetically, the moment of conception, all your parents' DNA and their parents, and God knows how far back it goes. And then after you're born, it's the repetition of your environment. And by the time you're 5 or 6 years old, the programming is pretty well done. Well, what a person wants to do is improve the quality of their life, and if they're going to improve it, they have to change that conditioning. There's only 2 ways to change the subconscious conditioning. One is through an emotional impact, which rarely happens.
Right.
And when it does, it's generally a negative one, something terrible happening. Now that indicates that you could have a positive one, but that rarely happens. And the other is through repetition. So the repetition of reading something over and over and over is the only way of changing it.
And what would you say to people that say, but it's the same chapter? So for example, with persistence, it's the same chapter. So what benefit is it to read the same words over and over again?
Well, you've got to understand words are symbols. And every symbol has a corresponding image. So when you're reading a book, what you're doing is looking at a picture that's painted in words. Well, through the repetition of going over those same words, you're creating the same picture over and over. And as that picture gets planted in the subconscious mind, ultimately the behavior starts to change. Like, I have totally transformed my whole life through repetition. And that's the only way to do it. It's illogical to the average person's mind. Yeah. It's almost in direct opposition to everything we were taught in school.
People are watching this and saying, Bob, you're nuts. Like that is, because it really comes up against something that feels so counterintuitive almost.
I was just talking to a lady that's the superintendent of schools down in Arizona. She has a doctorate's degree in education. And she was talking about how powerful our information was. And she's looking at becoming a consultant with us because she sees the effectiveness of this. She says she's working with teachers in different school systems, attempting to get the teachers to change, and she says it's almost an impossible task. And I said, that's because the teachers don't understand why they're doing what they're doing. Their paradigm is controlling them. And if they don't get an understanding of how to change the paradigm, they're not going to change it. That's why most people are